Hello, everyone. Hello. I be so proud when it comes on, Daddy. Hello, everyone, Daddy. There's a lot of light going
Move
on
over
right
here.
here.
Move over here.
Move over.
Do it.
Okay. No, it still got me.
That's all right, baby. You are the light.
Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Monique and Sydney's open relationship. So, listen. Today's show is titled "What My Sweetness."
Oprah Winfrey Neverland interview.
Oprah Winfrey Neverland interview. Now, why are we doing this show today, my
Was it
love?
right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Was it right or was it for ratings?
You be the judge.
You be the judge.
While we get this straight.
While we get this. And the calling number is 470-282-1802. The title of the show today is Oprah Winfrey Neverland interview. Was it right or was it for ratings? And we want to know y'all thoughts and what y'all think about it.
Please.
So how we going to kick it off, Daddy?
We're going to kick it off like this. How did we start talking about? Oh, well, I guess we're going to start off with
We're
a
going to
call.
go right to the call.
Come on.
Hey, you on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you're calling from?
Hey!
Hey!
Let me turn my thing down. Okay. Monique, I'm so glad I can talk to you. This is Michelle with Bob Rewards Club.
Hi, Michelle.
Black-owned businesses. So if you see my little thing in the chat, it's me. I'm not a troll, okay?
Okay.
But you know what? It was wrong. I think it was wrong what Oprah did because, you know, it just goes to show you that she owes other people in Hollywood. And, you know, we see a lot of this with our black celebrities where they're not really upholding, you know, who we are as black people. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciate that you and your husband are doing this live podcast because it goes to show you really how much integrity you have, and we need more celebrities that can speak up on issues. But yeah, I think it was wrong what Oprah did because Michael's been dead for over 10 years, okay? And even the Jacksons, they came out and they said that they thought, you know, they've been trying to sue them, you know, with civil lawsuits. You know, Michael's estate is worth $2.1 billion since he passed. $2.1 billion. So a lot of this, what we're seeing, people got to wake up. If you start, you know, and Oprah, I don't know if you followed Tariq Nasheed, but he did a podcast a couple days ago where he talked about the people that Oprah owes and who's helped her made it to where she is in Hollywood right now. And that's what we're seeing. You know, now I can understand that Oprah herself, now she was sexually molested. I can see her taking that point and wanting to talk about some of that. However, I just feel that, you know, the timing is off. And, you know, she even said, Monique, that she knew she was going to have some backlash. She even said that that there was going to be an uproar in the black community.
Yes, she did, baby. And when we saw her say it, she said it with a chuckle, which was also a little disheartening because you ask yourself, what was the chuckle for? And thank you so much, baby. You ask yourself, what was that chuckle for? Was it a nervous chuckle? Was it a chuckle of, I really don't care? And you don't want to assume anything. But when you, for me, to watch that, and this man has been gone for over 10 years. And not only is he gone, he was found not guilty. He was found not guilty. And in my humble opinion, when you have a black man that is brought up on charges for sexually molesting children and white children, it was almost a feeling of, we're going to get him. And when they came back and said, y'all, there's no proof, there's no evidence that this man did anything to anyone. We have got to throw this out of here. Then when the guy goes back in 2014 to try to do a lawsuit, they say, listen, we got to throw this out of here. So here's a man that was found not guilty in the eyes of the law. In the eyes of the law. And you wait for 10 years after this man is deceased to now do an interview with people that said they lied.
Take some calls, baby. Let's let the folks tell us what they think.
Let's take it. Hey, my love, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you're calling from?
Hey, this is Sunshine from Columbus, Ohio.
Hey, Sunshine, talk to us, baby.
All right. Now, first of all, I just want to say, as always, thank you, too, for doing this. This is a great forum for us to get our stuff out, too. And black people watching, I hope y'all are some of the ones who are naysayers when Monique called Oprah out. Because when you called Oprah out on her stuff, black people acted like you said something about the baby Jesus himself.
Yeah.
I know she is the savior of many black people. And I've seen her shade from day one. This is a woman who made her living off of the dysfunction of poor people. And now, if you don't have a movie or a book deal, you can't even sneeze in her direction. Okay, let's just talk about that. Remember, it used to be the child molestation, the families, the poor this, the poor that, when she was Oprah back in the day. And then when she got big, she doesn't fool with those people anymore. And everybody keeps asking me on Facebook, well, have you watched it? Have you watched it? I'm not watching anything she has to say about Michael Jackson until she calls out her homeboy, Harvey Weinstein.
Talk on it, baby.
Because this is a clear case of wagging the dog. This is just a distraction. This is something shiny for us to look at and be occupied by while her white people get away with murder. Those men, they have victims too. Ryan Seacrest, Matt Lauer. Where is their special? You got Robin Roberts, Gayle King, her girlfriend, and Oprah all interviewing high-profile black men right now. But you got white men who have committed mad crimes, and nobody's saying anything about it. Nobody's addressing them. And it just speaks to who Oprah really is. It speaks to how she became famous, and it speaks to what she's willing to do to her own people to stay afloat. And thank you for, like I said the last time I got through, speaking truth to power. We cannot cower just because one of our own makes it. We cannot go along with their BS just because we are kinfolk, not skinfolk. Just because we're the same color doesn't mean we have to deal with their madness. And she should have been called out a long time ago, and people need to hold her accountable. So I don't want to see anything, watch anything that Oprah has to say about Michael Jackson. And what they need to be talking about is the man who killed himself after Michael Jackson died and left a letter saying that he lied about his son being molested. You won't hear about that. Google it. It's real.
Come on, baby.
We appreciate you.
Love you, honey.
Love y'all.
Come on, we're talking about it.
Talking about it.
We're talking about the interview that Oprah did in reference to Neverland. Hey, baby, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you're calling from?
This is Faith.
Turn your little radio down so you can hear us clearly, because we're getting echo back from you.
This is Stacy from Virginia.
Talk to us, Stacy.
I think Stacey Nerve got the best.
She might be having some trouble with the phone.
Hey, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you're calling from?
Tasha from Atlanta.
Hey, Tasha from Atlanta. Talk to us, baby.
I have been wondering for a long time why Oprah would interview these guys and give them a platform, and it came to me this morning. I think maybe Oprah caught wind that Gayle had landed R. Kelly. I know that Gayle says she did this interview yesterday, but I don't know when he may have given clearance, hey, I'll sit down with you. And this was nothing but a ratings race, a ratings bonanza, and one trying to outdo the other. It makes no sense. And the guys in the quote unquote documentary, I think it's a film, a doc would have had all sides. The reason why they're being so salacious, because if they came out and said, Michael molested me, that would have been the same thing we've heard for umpteen years. So they had to be as graphic as possible for shock value, so that people would even give this the time of day, and sadly it worked in Oprah's case. And that's all I have to say.
We appreciate you.
We love you, baby.
Thank you. Love you both.
Go ahead, Daddy. I'm sorry.
Please.
You know, when... Okay, I'm going to say it. Hey, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you're calling from?
Hi, my name is Marcia. I'm from North Carolina.
Hey, baby, talk to us.
Well, how I feel
about the whole documentary, especially with Oprah, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that she gave these two perjurers, might I add, platform to even voice such crap and such BS. We have 367 pages of court documents by the FBI telling us that Michael Jackson was completely innocent and was extorted for money. They followed this man for 10 years without him knowing and found no evidence. So for these two to come back now, 10 years after he's died, to say, oh, MJ did this to me, MJ did that, it's all BS. One even sued a couple of years ago for $1.3 billion. A civil suit, not a criminal suit. So please, I don't understand that, how it's not for money. And I don't understand how her, of all people, would give somebody like them a platform, especially when she's a survivor herself. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And as a survivor, if you notice, she's never identified specifically who the individual was who molested her. She said an uncle, but never called that individual out by name. So it's a little interesting when you have someone that provides the specifics on someone who years prior gave her what one could say was one of the biggest interviews of her life, and I believe it was 1993 with
sir.
Michael Jackson.
Yes.
So
Yes,
it's a very interesting turn of events. So, we appreciate your call.
Thank you, my baby. And here's what, for me, is sad and disheartening. You had, that man welcomed you in his home. And you spoke of how beautiful and all the love this man has shown children all over the world.
And John, I believe it was John Alex said, all I'm really saying is they don't really care about us. I ain't messing with you. But.
And I want to address too, with calling someone a molester and they're no longer here. And with these guys, Michael Jackson is not here to defend himself, which is a major problem, because once he's been found not guilty, once, from my understanding from the caller, when the FBI says we found nothing, then you come back and you allow these two men to get on your platform and tell this story, and that man cannot defend himself. Who does that?
And when Monique communicates that with you, she's coming from a place of experience. Because, this is Monique and Sydney's open relationship. So what good is it if you have the information and we not being open with the community to share it?
Come on.
You all know that Monique identified Gerald, who was her older brother, or who is her older brother that molested her when she was a child. What you may not have known is he also had taken her down the street, and there were two other young men who molested her who were friends of his that happened to be brothers. They have since deceased for some years, which is part of the reason why you never knew or ever heard about their name, because they've met their proverbial maker, their end is here, and to bring them up when they cannot defend themselves. See, she spoke in reference to Gerald. We speak truth to power as it pertains to Oprah, Lee, Tyler, Will, Packer, individuals that have the ability to confront us and deal with us directly, not someone who is no longer living, that can't defend themselves, because that, excuse no pun intended, is overkill, because that man is not here. And when you are acquitted, how do you retry someone in the court of public opinion who cannot challenge or dispute what it is that they're claiming?
Which is why I didn't say it. And I never will say it about those two men, because their families had nothing to do with that.
When they were boys.
When they were boys, their families would be paying a price for something that they had nothing to do with. So that's why, for me, I would never say their names. I didn't say it while they were alive. So that it's done.
It's done.
Because they're gone. Because they can't be in a position to say, no, Monique, that didn't happen. No, Monique, that's not true. So to put our brother Michael Jackson and to, I'll say, try to taint that man's legacy, and he can't defend himself. Who does that?
Oprah.
Let's talk on it, y'all. Hey, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you're calling from? Hello? And, you know, I remember when I came out some time ago. Hey, baby, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you're calling from?
Monique?
Yes?
Talk to us.
Hey, I can't believe I got through.
You did it, baby.
Oh my God! Hello, Monique and Sydney. Hello, how are you guys?
Wonderful,
Wonderful.
mama.
Listen, I just got on. I've been trying to catch your podcast live since I heard about it, and I just really heard about it. I'm telling you, you guys are doing amazing work. I just want to make sure I tell you that first.
Thank you,
We
baby.
appreciate it.
Your podcast is blessing me, and I'm sharing it with everybody I can. It's amazing work. I just want to say two things. One thing I wanted to say is I want you to also know that I really appreciate your being willing to stand strong and stand on your truth. I've had arguments with my own sons. You and I are same age. You guys are the same age as me, and I started my family younger, so I have older children. And I've had to get my sons straight with regards to how you have stood on your principles and your integrity regarding how the industry has treated you. And one of the things that I shared with him was, because I noticed there's a thing about us as a people, we tend to take people who look a certain way at face value and people who look another way at a different value. You remind me a lot of myself because we're taller, darker skinned, more statuesque women. And when you talk about other women like Jada Pinkett Smith, who came out and said, oh, we're going to boycott the Oscars because the Oscars are not treating us fairly as a people, nobody slammed her for that. But when it's someone that they feel, our people feel threatened by in some way, we won't stand with you. And I just have a problem with that. And I had to talk to my sons about that a lot of times, because you are a comedian and you were a rough comedian, you were out there, you were doing it, you were telling the truth. So people tend to take that art form and put it to your personhood. I think your personhood as a woman is sweet, kind, and loving, and you can see that in your conversations. But when you get on that stage, you're telling it raw. You're telling it truth. And you want to laugh in the midst of that raw
Yes.
truth. And so people can't seem to decipher the person, Monique, from the comedian, Monique.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wanted you to know that I see that. And we need to really, I'm saying this out loud because we really need to go back and start looking at ourselves as a people and say, hey, wait a minute, let's not judge this person because what she says when she does her comedy, because that's not who she is. What she's talking about in a business situation is totally different from her comedy. And I think that's the problem that I'm seeing a lot of people have. And that's the problem I was having with my son. So I wanted to say that to you and just encourage you to continue to keep going because I think you guys are doing a phenomenal job with the platform that you have. See, you know, when one door closes, another one will open.
Come on
so
now.
this one is one that I am being blessed by. So I'm really, really grateful to you for that. And then I wanted to say this part really quick about this whole situation with our sister, Oprah Winfrey. We thank God for Oprah Winfrey having the platform, doing the work, getting to where she is. She has paved the way for other black women to be seen in a different light. However, Oprah Winfrey is not the Lord. She's not God. She's not Jesus.
Come on.
And we need to stop acting like because she was able to break through in some ways that others have not, that don't mean she's the only person who God could have used to do it. She was available. He used her. She got through to this place. But now she needs to recognize that her platform affects a lot of people, and especially the people that look like her.
Come on.
So for her to slander this man, allow these people to get on here and slander this man's name, because guess what, Oprah, your day gonna come too, baby. It's gonna be a day when you ain't gonna be on this earth too. Would you like somebody to come and talk about everything that they think they thought you might have done?
Come
I don't
on.
think so.
We
So
appreciate
she
you
has to
calling.
be careful with what she is doing, because she is opening up such a door, because you're going to reap what you sow.
Every single
You're
time,
going to
baby.
give that back to her.
We love you, sis.
You know? And I'm really concerned that we as a people just hold her in such esteem.
But you know that,
But
you know, baby, and we want to thank you for your call, Mama. But that too is something that we are guilty of,
Talking.
because we will take who we think has the bag and we'll turn them into gods. Because when you have Sister Kim Whitley, and she said, Oprah Winfrey is my God, and you're saying because she gave you a television show, you give her God status. But a lot of people have done that and not understanding, as my husband always says, we all have an expiration date. Introduce us to the person that doesn't.
In addition to that, we have to take in consideration the history of Oprah. And I want to be clear, this conversation is not about bashing Oprah Winfrey as a human being.
Come on.
Because we can't come from that place and space, because regardless of what we may find ridiculous or wrong in reference to our actions, whether she wants to acknowledge it or not, she's still our sister. With that being said, when you look at the history of Oprah Winfrey, you don't see a level of respect for, number one, men of color. Because I've seen Dr. Phil, I've seen Dr. Oz, but I can't tell you about the numerous men of color that she brought to the forefront to hold them in high esteem. And I'll never forget, and we made mention about this a while ago, when Oprah had Sister Maya Angelou on her show, and she was coming on with a level of frequency. And then all of a sudden, one day, you didn't see her anymore. And it was after the show when they were speaking in reference to finding out people's lineage and their history through, I guess, DNA and things of that nature. And it was shared with Oprah Winfrey that her forefathers or her family members prior to her may have been slaves to Elvis Presley's family.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so excited to hear that. And Maya Angelou looked over at her like, what did you just say?
Mm-hmm.
How can you be excited to hear that your family was enslaved, number one, by anybody, much less Elvis Presley's family? And it spoke to a level of the delusional state that she lives in. Spoke about it last week. There's this thing called the Meritorious Manumissions Act of 1710, my people.
Come on.
Again, Meritorious Manumissions Act of 1710. And we see replications of that right now. And what that was, there were 4 things that would allow the slave to get out from under bondage. Number 1, it was to save the slave master's life. Or number 2, to save the slave master's property. Number 3, to create something that was profitable for the slave master. Or number 4, tell on one of the other slaves.
Come on.
So we see right now that there's still that mentality, because there's a level of creation of profit for the slave master. And there's a level of freedom, or should I say telling on the other brothers because Michael was technically free. He's no longer here to defend himself, but we're going to give a platform because we know there's a level of defense that is not going to be had for somebody of color. And a prime example of that is if you're very interested in expelling or dispelling the myths and bringing the truth to the forefront, all we would ask is, why did you never come out and say Monique did nothing wrong by not promoting a movie that she had no contractual obligation to promote, but you stayed silent against Lionsgate? But you'll speak up about a dead man named Michael Jackson. Why is that?
And I want to address because people are putting in the room and making comments when she had my family on her show.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Michael Jackson Neverland interview, I'm not surprised by it because that woman has shown me who she is. Now, the brother that molested me, Gerald, he and I spoke, and we had not spoken in 17 years. And it was what, about 2 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
About 2 weeks ago. And with the whole Steve Harvey thing was going up in the air that I was going to punch Steve and all this craziness, as y'all found out, that wasn't true. But he called, and he called in a huff. What's wrong with Monique? And she doing all this? And actually what he said was, she's messing up deals for our other brother because the people think she too violent. It's like, well, how could I be messing up any deals for my other brother because we have no dealings together? My brother Steve. So we like, that doesn't even make any sense for you to be worried about what I'm doing in my life that's going to affect my other brother and his business dealings. We have no dealings together. So again, when he called rah-rah. By the time he got finished talking to Sydney, he was extremely apologetic. Because in his rah-rah, my husband says to him, hey brother, I'm being nothing but a gentleman as I'm speaking to you. So what I would ask is that you take all of that out of your voice and let's talk to each other like two men. The same conversation he had with Steve Harvey, which was confusing to me when Steve said on the show, Sid can't be out here flexing. He can't be doing all that flexing. Every conversation Steve and Sydney has ever had, Steve Harvey's been the one flexing and had to be pulled down off of that because he...
Not every, but just one when we were on the radio.
I'm sorry, you're right. The conversation we had on the radio, Sid had to pull him down off of that and say, hey brother, I'm only talking to you like a gentleman. I'm gonna need you to do the same. Now after Sid and Gerald had that conversation, Gerald says to my husband, I really need to apologize to my sister. It's been 17 years since we talked, and I want to let her know I'm sorry for what I've done. He said, well, you don't have to tell me. Why don't you tell your sister? And my brother and I got on that phone after 17 years because I had closed myself off to him. And I said, I will never, ever again speak to this man. And though I love my brother, I didn't think I would ever say those words to him again. But when we got on that phone and we began to talk, and it was the first time I've ever heard my brother speak from his heart. And my brother said, because they call me Nikki, Nikki, I want to apologize for what I did to you. And I want to apologize for the damage it may have caused you in your life. That caught me off because I wasn't expecting that from my brother. And then we began to talk about when he went on the Oprah Winfrey show. And when my brother said, Oprah told me you were coming. So I'm thinking the whole time that I'm going to be able to see and talk to my sister. I didn't find out you were going to be there until I got there that morning. And then she said, oh, by the way, Monique is not coming. So, in my humble opinion, that woman manipulated my family to have them believing one thing when it was actually something else. That woman manipulated me because she had me believing one thing and it was actually something else.
And specifically, the one thing she had her believing was it was just going to be Gerald that was going to be on the show and not Gerald, her brother Steve, her Miss Alice, her mother, and Mr. Steve, her father, that was going to be on the phone. And when I'm on the show, And when Monique addressed her, she said, I did not know that they were going to be there until the show was about to go on. Now, ironically, there was a show on, y'all might have seen it, on BET called The Monique Show.
Mm.
And on that show, in which we did 300 shows, we had the opportunity to experience what it is to do a show,
Yes.
a multitude of them. And there's never a time that the host does not know who it is that she's going to be hosting, because that would throw her completely off because she doesn't know the questions to ask. So it was a little disingenuous that she said that she didn't know that they were coming on the show.
Yes.
So again, part of the problem, which one of our callers just made mention, is putting people in high esteem or to a degree where you over respect them. And if anyone knows anything about Monique, what she will do is, and who she is for, oftentimes is the underdog. But we believe in you respect everybody, but you over respect no one. So the fact that there's this rumor with the Kim Whitleys of the world that Oprah's their God, the reason why we're having this conversation is because we do love Oprah. And we could not do her the disservice to think that she's risen to the realm of being a God, and let her make her understand that it's okay to be amongst us mere mortals.
Mm. We're going to go to the lines, baby. Hey, my love, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you calling from?
That's a
Okay.
office line.
Okay. Hey, my love, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you calling from? Okay. I want to apologize that we have you on hold for so long, but as y'all can see, when we be right in the middle of explaining something, the calls start coming in. Hey, my love, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you calling from?
Oh my goodness, this is Kenda. I'm calling from Be More. First of all, I love you. I'm so excited that I got through.
We glad you got through, baby.
And we love you
Yes.
back.
I just want to tell you that I love you. I remember when you gave cards to people here. I remember your club. This is nothing new. And I also have been saying that what people don't even think about is how you trusted a sister with your personal pain, and she put it out there. That is molestation
Come on.
at its worst.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes.
I was very hurt when I heard that. And what people don't understand is that when you share a personal pain with someone that tells you, sister, I understand you, and you tell them, look, I'm not ready to talk about it or share it right now. Let me manage it. How dare you decide to take my trust, okay, and use it? I commend you. I support you. And when I start my show, I would love to interview you and talk to you. I admire you, and I thank you, and I'm supporting you.
Thank you so much, my beautiful sister. And we love you, baby.
We love
but
you.
I want to make sure that I play Oprah fairly. Now, Oprah Winfrey did call me about my brother coming on the show. And when she called, she said, your brother called me up. He want to come on the show to apologize to you and also tell parents how to look out for predators. And I said to Oprah, listen, the nigga I know is up to something slick. But everybody's allowed to change, and I don't want to block my brother's blessings. I just don't want anything to do with that. Mm-hmm. She said, if you do not want me to air the show, I will pull the show. Again, I said, I appreciate that, sister, but my brother could be a different person. And I also want the world to see what a molester looks like. Because my brother's a good looking man, very charming, charismatic, all of that. You would never think that a person that looks like that could pull any woman he want to, would want to deal with children. So I said, yes, please, by all means. What she did not do was say, your mother, your father, your other brother. Now, Oprah Winfrey and I had a conversation about me and my mother's relationship. I told Oprah, me and my mother was not on good terms. We were not talking. And I went into detail as to why we were not talking. I told that sister that. She never one time said, by the way, Monique, your mother's going to be here. Because had Oprah Winfrey said that to me, I would have said, then I'm going to need you to shut that down. Because I don't want the world seeing my mother be greedy, be unnurturing. Because you have a man coming on saying, I did that. And you have my mother and father there saying, well, we're going to support him. So my mother and I, we never got that right. And my mother is now gone, as well as my father. We never got that right. So when I see this woman at an Oscar party at Alfre Woodard's home with a lot of other beautiful black women, y'all know your girl. I had to ask her while we were down in the room, and Alfre Woodard said to me, Monique, say what's on your heart. This is the room where you can say what's on your heart. And y'all know I said what was on my heart. And what that woman said to me was, if you think I've done something wrong, then I apologize.
Super Soul Sunday.
Super Soul's not. Monique, I want to apologize for that, baby, because we did have a conversation. And had she just come up real with it and said, sister, I just wanted to get the story. Now, we have another sister. Her name is Barbara Walters. And my brother and family called Barbara Walters. And Barbara Walters called and said, I could not do that to Monique because I've been doing it for too long. I know what that is. And this is right after I win what they say is the biggest award in the world, and you have my whole family on. Who does that? Hey, baby, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you're calling from?
Hi, I'm calling from Washington, D.C. How are you?
Hey, Washington, D.C. What's going on, baby?
I'm just calling to say that I'm so proud of y'all. I watch y'all all the time when y'all go live. I love how Sydney has your back. I love how y'all fight to keep spreading your story. And it's very, very commendable. And I'm just thanking you for being a strong black woman and representing for the black women. And Sydney representing for the black men and the husbands out here in the universe. It's so many great men and so many great women, and your story is very telling, and I just appreciate you. I'm so proud that you're able to be in Las Vegas. I'm not sure if you're still in Las Vegas. I wish I could make it out there to see you for your residency, but if you come back to Baltimore or D.C., I'm definitely going to come and support you. I love you. I love you, Sydney. I don't know you personally, but you all are so, so amazing. And that's what I wanted to say, and I'm glad I got through.
We love you
We
back,
love you
baby.
back. Thank you.
Thank you, honey.
Too.
Thank you, my love.
Good.
And this, too, Daddy, is why this show is necessary. Because it gives, I believe, not just me, but it gives people a place of freedom where they can say it. Hey, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you're calling from?
California.
Hey, baby.
California. Hey, Monique.
Hey, hey.
Hey. I thought we were in real time.
We are.
We are in real time, baby.
Okay, okay. So I'm calling first, Monique. I love you. I have so much respect for you, sister. Just saw you in Vegas last Friday, and you killed it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for how you stand up for black people and especially black women. I love you. And I just had to make sure that to support you and support your efforts.
We appreciate that, baby.
Okay. Just briefly about Oprah, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Is that, I think that it's good that Oprah's talking about Michael Jackson.
Okay.
I mean, and even if it is for ratings, I mean, it's the stories of, it's just the stories that need to be told. I think a part of what happens is that we get so caught up on celebrity,
Mm-hmm.
that people are willing to accept anything
Mm-hmm.
just to be close to what they call the light. I think people need to start exposing what really happened.
I
So,
agree with you, baby. I
okay.
agree that exposure does need to happen. That's why I had to come out with my story in reference to my brother. However, how do you keep exposing when a man has been found not guilty? Because if Michael Jackson was found guilty, then baby, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But when you find a man not guilty, when you have the FBI doing raids on your home and they have no idea you're coming and they find absolutely nothing, when you have the men that came out and said, no, he didn't do it, we're going to come back and say he did do it, we're going to come back and say he didn't do it, now we're going to try to sue him for money. See, I believe in exposure.
And when you have a jury that says they thought that the prosecutors were going to have more information and evidence than they did, that's why a jury of 12 people who happened to all be Caucasian said we couldn't find this man guilty.
Come on.
So
Right.
in addition to that, we believe that what you're saying is true in the sense of we should tell the truth, but there should be balance. Because if you're willing to try to expose what you deem as being the truth about a man who's not alive, what would prevent you from telling the truth about a black woman who is still alive? And Monique, where you're allowing or have allowed and been afraid to say out loud, this black woman did nothing wrong, when she elected to say, I'm not going to do anything free for anyone that I don't have a contract with, but you stay silent. So to pick and choose, that is the problem. And when you see that there are the Matt Lauers, there are the Weinsteins,
Yes.
there are the Bill O'Reillys, what is the reason why there are no individuals, the Charlie Roses? What's the reason why they didn't take the time out to find anything out about their accusers? And in my humble opinion, partially it's because it is very easy to condemn a person of color, because there was a long time in our society when we as black people, we were unable to even testify against somebody who was Caucasian.
Yes.
After the Bacon Rebellion, when William Greeley of Jamestown, Virginia, the governor, imposed those things, which essentially was the ignition switch to white privilege.
Well, I mean, I think racism is involved in everything.
Yes.
But it's like right now in California, they just let off 2 white police officers for shooting this black boy in the back. So we know that just because people are found not guilty doesn't mean that they're not guilty, right?
We know
That's
that,
just the
but we
truth. We
also,
know that justice, it's not served in this country.
and that's why we're saying it is very easy for someone to go after someone who is of color, even after they've been acquitted. Because what happens is, if you can shoot a man in the back 8 times, but you as a homeowner, if someone broke into your home, depending upon where you live, were to shoot them in the back if they were trying to escape your home, you would be found guilty of a crime. But an officer can go in your yard, shoot you 8 times in the back, and get away with it, which further makes our point that to go after someone who is of color, even after they've been acquitted, even after the individuals who are saying that he now did it previously said that he did not do it, and no one is questioning, or there are those who are not questioning, why do you say, or why did you say, and why should you be believed now, when you were looking for people to believe you when you said that he did not do it? And incredibly enough, if you look at the interview of that young man when he was a child, and they were interviewing about Michael, it wasn't as if he was some robotic guy telling a lie. And I don't know, and I'm not here to judge whether he's telling the truth or whether he's telling a lie. But what I'll say is his demeanor was of such where he seemed to have been speaking freely and from his heart. But we appreciate you giving your insight and your opinion.
And we love you, baby.
And
Absolutely.
and I love you guys too. Thank you. Keep on doing what you do.
Thank you, my
you.
sweetness. And you know what? I'm glad that sister called because we don't want to be in a place where, oh, everybody just in agreement, because she has a right to feel the way that she feels.
Yes.
And I want to address this light that's shining down. This is just my humble opinion. Because everybody's saying, fix it, move it. Every time we move it, it finds us. So my humble opinion, that's our brother Michael Jackson saying, shine the light on the real. Shine the light, baby.
Come on.
Let's really talk about it. So again, we get caught up in the bag and not the facts. And we feel like, some of us feel like, because it's Oprah Winfrey, it must be true. But like that caller said earlier, how would Oprah Winfrey feel if when her day comes and she gets called to wherever she's going, someone says, okay, baby, let's drop it, and you can't defend yourself? See, someone would say, why wouldn't you have the young ladies from your school in South Africa? And I'm not saying she didn't. I never saw a special about the young ladies that were molested in that school in South Africa. Now, the young lady that got accused was acquitted. She was found not guilty. And I read an article where Oprah Winfrey said she was very disappointed at the outcome, and she was very proud of those young ladies standing up and telling their truths. But why wasn't it a special done on that? Because now your name is riding on riding on it. So again, we gotta be careful what we put out, because we know universally it comes back to you. Let's go to the line. I'm sorry, Daddy. Hey, you want to take that? I got to clear my throat.
Thanks for calling in. Your name and where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Gigi. I'm calling from Florida. You guys.
Hey, sweet baby, talk to us.
But Monique, first of all, I would love to say, I am with you, for you, always have been. You're my girl.
Thank you.
I have several issues. The first one is the lady who called in and said that she don't agree that your comedy is the same as your personality. I've never seen that. I've always seen that you come across in your comedy the same way you always come across. So that was the first point. Second point is that I've had on this other lady that just called and said that about opposing issues. My point is, yeah, we have opposing issues, and some people think that Michael Jackson did what he did, and, that was acquitted, and like you said, all that should be done. But my point is, the man is dead. The man is dead. Let this man rest in peace.
Yes.
Shameful, disgraceful, disgusting for anyone, I don't care who it is. Oprah, who I've never liked. I've always seen that she was biased. I've always said she was a gatekeeper. Her, Steve Harvey, I don't care if that is your boy. He can be your boy, not mine. But that is, that's just the point.
Yes.
Just for her, Gail, and the news media, this mainstream news media, the way they pick up on these stories and run with these black stories, when it's negative. We don't hear about the little girl that's missing.
Come on,
right?
now.
The little black girl that's missing.
Come on.
The little black girl that was raped in Georgia. Never heard it on the mainstream media. Never. But they want to keep dragging out black men, and we have these coon women, these people who always, even during slavery time, you're always going to have those that have never been for us and never will. They always thought Master was the one. The Bible is word. Negative. I just want to it just burns to my core. This man is dead. Leave him alone. Leave his family alone. Let him rest in peace. And all of them going to get theirs. I'm just sitting back waiting.
We
love you,
appreciate
baby.
the call.
Love you, baby.
back.
You guys prosper and be blessed.
Thank you,
you.
sweet sister. Now, I can't speak on whether or not Oprah Winfrey respects the black man or not. I can only speak on our experience. on how she dealt with you as a black man. And I remember the conversation y'all were having, and she got so beside herself. She said, "What?" Remember that?
I do.
"What?" And Sydney said, "Excuse me, did you just say what to me?" And she paused. And then she said, I'm sorry. I didn't repeat that, please." Now, again, I don't know how she.
Normally conducts herself with men of color. But there's a level of importance that Oprah seems to have that, again, it is not without a reason. If you look closely, when you have people saying that she's your God, sometimes, and you were in the bubble, and oh, Oprah's coming, you begin to believe it. But that's why I'm saying what we're talking about is the challenging part. It's to not make her into this terrible person, despite the fact that the acts that she has done and created are not, in my humble opinion, the most beneficial to our community.
Mm.
So that's the challenge, the dichotomy of how do you still love your sister, but you got to speak directly to her. And because you say, if she has time enough, as we were told by her former hairdresser for
Makeup.
my apologies,
Makeup artist.
for 25 years, was it?
Yes.
Roosevelt Cartwright, who said, "I'm too damn old to care. If you want to tell it, tell it."
Mm-hmm.
When he says she wanted to know, was you and Sydney's relationship, was it real? And one would say, when you a busy billionaire businesswoman, say that fast 3 times.
Busy billionaire businesswoman.
Right. When you are that, why would you take the time out to be concerned about our relationship and whether it is real or not? And then at the same time, because we've heard some say, Oprah's too busy to deal with y'all. That's why she hasn't confronted. You ain't got no time for y'all. But she wasn't busy enough to ask, was our relationship real? But you're too busy to have a real conversation and say, why don't you want to discuss how you carry things as it pertains to Monique? Why not? And the only thing that we can think of is because it doesn't allow, that conversation would not allow her to remain perfect.
Come on.
In the eyes of the individuals that believe her to be. And what we're saying is how free it is to feel not the need to be perfect. How, what's the word I'm looking for?
Imperfect.
How
Flawed.
how wonderful you feel when you don't have to put on the guise that you are above it all. When you're just regular folk. So this is the reason why we're having these conversations again, to make people realize that all she is a human being that has had an incredible career. However, it seems like later in her years, it's starting to go a little bit differently, whereby the focus is not on uplifting the community.
Come on.
It seems to be a little bit damaging to the community. We knew it was a time where she was ignoring the community, but now that the focus is on the community, it doesn't seem to be the most positive of things, in my humble opinion.
In our humble opinion.
Because
I absolutely agree. And see, y'all, I get a chance to see them behind the curtain. I get a chance to deal with them when no one's watching, when they think that, you know what, I'm the big stuff even behind the curtain. Because I remember coming up in Baltimore and seeing this woman on a local TV show called People Are Talking. Baby, it was everything for me. Do you hear me? Because I didn't see people on TV that looked like me.
Right.
So to see this big woman that had a bush and big shoulders and big feet on TV in Baltimore, I was like, oh my goodness, that's what I want to do. I've always wanted to be a talk show host because I saw a woman named Oprah Winfrey that was doing a local show. I went to that local show. I hugged that woman, baby. Now, there was a time Oprah Winfrey was a hugger. I hugged that woman, and I said, I want to be like you when I grow up. And she said, you got to work really hard So the day I went to her show,
Oh, no.
oh,
Before you hit him with that,
okay,
then you also got to give him the even balance between the other black woman that you met too with it. Her name was Shirley Hemphill.
Daddy, thank you. So let me go back, cause y'all know I have my mouth be speaking faster than my brain can catch up with it. I met a woman named Shirley Hemphill when I was in the 3rd grade, and I was going to Woodmore Elementary School. Some of you may be too young. Some of you know just who I'm talking about. She was Shirley from What's Happening, and then What's Happening Now. But her name was Shirley Hemphill. And I was in the 3rd grade, and that woman came to my elementary school, and I had my legs crossed on our gym floor. And she looked right at me and said, "Don't you know you can be anything you want to be?" And I never forgot that. And that's one of the reasons why I go into the schools, because of that woman right there. Just her words, baby, made me say I can be anything I want to be. So now I meet this woman named Oprah Winfrey, who's in it, being it, and she's doing it. And now I get a chance to go to her show, not the local show, the national show, where everybody, I mean, this is all over the world. And after that show, she hugs me, and this was a later Oprah Winfrey hug. This was, and she says, "When I look at you, I ain't looking at nobody but me." Now, when we met back up, I had to remind her of what she said to me.
And where'd you meet back up?
This is when we were at the Oscar dinner.
Party that they threw for you?
Yes. This was at the, she came to the Oscar soiree that they gave for me. And then we met again at Alfred Woodard's. And I reminded her of what she said to me. "You said when you look at me, you ain't doing nothing but looking at yourself."
And then she says,
I say that to everybody. Well, how could you possibly say that to everybody? And when you say it, do you mean it? Or are you just saying it and it's fraudulent? I don't know which one it is. Because if you say it to everybody, well, do you see white men that way, black men that way, black women, white women, Asian women? So you say that to everybody? But that let me know for me, in my humble opinion, I was looking at someone that only says what's necessary.
and when you were looking at who your hero was, when you thought about Shirley Hemphill and Oprah Winfrey when you were on your way up, who was your hero?
Oprah Winfrey.
But when you look at it in retrospect, who's the hero?
Shirley Hemphill.
Because she did it when no cameras were around.
See, I've met some heroes, Daddy.
Come on.
When no cameras are around. Her name is Susan Taylor.
Who is she? Tell them.
She used to run Essence magazine.
And when she left?
Essence left with her. Because that woman was nothing but love and a class act.
Nothing but.
I've met some sisters, baby. Her name is Valerie Simpson from Ashford and Simpson. Class act, baby. And they come from their heart. Stephanie Mills, from her heart. I've met some real damn Patti LaBelle, real down sisters. Then I met some sisters that make you say, "What you doing?" And her name is Oprah Winfrey, and her name is Gayle King. See, I got a call from Gayle King one night too. And this is when we first got the Monique show. And Gayle King asked me about 64,000 questions.
After she was a guest.
After she was a guest on the show. Question after question after. So I'm figuring, okay, sis, we sisters. Let me answer what you're asking me. And Monique, if you ever need to talk to me, here's my number. You think she ever picked up that phone? Because I called her back. Because I had to ask her, "Sis, you asked me a lot of questions. Was there any particular reason why you wanted to know all of this?" But she never, ever answered my call. So you got to say to yourself, are we really surprised?
Are we really?
So, babies, it's that time, Daddy.
It's that time.
We want to thank y'all for joining us, my loves, because y'all could have been anywhere else today, doing something else, but y'all chose to come and spend your time with us. So we want to thank y'all, baby, and we want you to tell a friend, tell another friend, then y'all tell 10 more friends, and let this thing keep doing what it's doing. And like my daddy says, the mind is like a parachute.
It is no good unless it's open.
We love y'all.
For free.
Mwah.
Take care.